In 2026, using crypto doesn't automatically mean financial privacy anymore. In fact, for most people, it means the complete opposite. Every transaction on a public blockchain is permanently recorded. Who you pay, how much you send, when you send it. That transparency was once seen as a feature, but as regulations tightens and surveillance technology improves, it's starting to look like a problem, because crypto is becoming one of the most traceable financial systems ever created. And that's why the privacy narrative is suddenly everywhere, and why privacy-focused projects are moving from niche to necessary. So let's walk through a simple example. Imagine you pay for a medical service using Ethereum. No name, no form, just a transaction. On the surface, that feels pretty private, but that payment is now public. The wallet it came from, the amount, the time, and if that wallet has ever touched an exchange, a payment app, or a public platform, it can be linked back to you. From there, the dots connect. Today, this data can already be analyzed, and tomorrow it can be automatically flagged and scored by AI systems in seconds. And the key point is this: these tools already exist. Once you realize your blockchain activity can be tracked more easily than your browsing history, the privacy debate suddenly makes a lot more sense. To understand why privacy is taking off, we need to talk about transparency, because transparency is one of crypto's biggest strengths and also one of its biggest weaknesses. Most major blockchains are fully public by design. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, they're all open ledgers where every transaction is visible forever. People often call this anonymous, but it's pseudonymous. Your wallet isn't tied to your name until it is. Through an exchange, a login, a payment, a public interaction. Once that link exists, your entire transaction history is exposed. Blockchain analytics firms already track wallet behavior, map relationships, and build financial profiles. These tools are used by exchanges, corporations, and governments every day. That has real consequences. Spending habits can be analyzed, donations can expose individuals, business activity can be monitored, trading strategies can be copied or front run. So while transparency is great for verification and trust, it also turns blockchains into public financial diaries. And that's not what most people signed up for. As blockchains become more transparent, governments aren't backing off, they're leaning in. Across the US and Europe, new rules are being built around one assumption: crypto activity should be visible, traceable, and easy to monitor. This isn't theoretical either. India and Nigeria, who make up about 20% of the world's population, well, they recently rolled out strict crypto KYC rules. You've got full ID checks, photos, IP tracking, and location data just to be compliant. In Europe, regulations like DAC 8 expand reporting to cover wallet activity and on-chain interactions. And in the US, self-custody wallets and privacy tools are increasingly treated as risks, not neutral software. The justification is usually tax, anti-money laundering, or counter-terrorism. And tax matters. I know everyone has to pay, but instead of adapting the tax systems to our new financial reality, the default response has been surveillance. That flips the idea of privacy on its head. What used to be normal, basic financial privacy now has to be justified. And once that mindset takes hold, it rarely stops there. With AI capable of analyzing billions of interactions instantly, visibility becomes incredibly powerful. And this is why privacy isn't a short-term trend, it's becoming necessary. So why now and why 2026? Because three forces are colliding at the same time. First, artificial intelligence. AI can already analyze massive data sets instantly. Apply that to a public blockchain and every wallet becomes a behavioral profile. Financial activity stops being private behavior and becomes a data set. Second, institutional adoption. Crypto is no longer a niche. Real-world assets, tokenized treasuries, and serious capital are moving on-chain. Institutions don't want their strategies broadcast in real time. Privacy for them isn't about secrecy, it's about operational safety. And third, user awareness. Transparency sounded great until it started exposing salaries, donations, medical payments, and political contributions. Once data is on a public ledger, it's permanent. That's why privacy isn't about hiding wrongdoing, it's about functioning normally as we have always done. So let's get practical and jump into the cryptocurrencies or tokens which are running the privacy narrative. Firstly, Monero, which is the benchmark. It's private by default. Every transaction hides the sender, receiver, and amount automatically. It works like digital cash. Once spent, there's no public trail to analyze. Zcash takes a different approach. It offers selective privacy using zero-knowledge proofs. You can prove a transaction is valid without receiving the details and even share the data selectively with auditors. That flexibility is why institutions pay attention, though its future depends on execution. Beyond these, privacy starts breaching out a little bit. Pirate Chain removes transparency entirely. Every transaction is fully shielded without exceptions. Railgun brings privacy to Ethereum and DeFi, letting users trade and move tokens without exposing their entire financial history. Secret Network focuses on private smart contracts, enabling private DeFi, voting, and even AI use cases. Alio is built entirely around zero-knowledge proofs, designed for fully private applications from day one. Oasis targets private data and AI, allowing sensitive information to be used without being exposed. Midnight focuses on selective disclosure for businesses, private by default, compliant when needed. Cryptic looks ahead to post-quantum privacy, combining private messaging, payments, and swaps into consumer-grade apps. And anyone goes beyond money, building anonymous infrastructure for apps, messaging, and services. So every one of these projects is solving the same problem, but from a different angle. How do you use crypto without handing over your entire digital life? Some projects focus on privacy by default, others on composable privacy, and others on selective disclosure. Different users, of course, have different needs. This isn't about hiding anything, it's about choosing. Of course, some of these projects will disappear, some will operate in the background, and a few will become essential infrastructure. Because in a world where everything is visible by default, privacy stops being a luxury and starts becoming power.